Hello everyone, Namaste. My name is Sari and I'm from class 6. So today in this video, my grandpa is going to tell something about the Konark Mandir, which is also known as Sun Temple in English. So grandpa, are you ready for today's video? Yes. So I welcome you to our audience once again and thank you so much for coming into our channel. Thank you. So let's start. So grandpa, first of all, as you know, there is a Konark Mandir in our state Odisha, which is known as Sun Temple in English, right? Yes. So, first of all, let me ask some of the questions about that so that you can tell our audience more about this temple. So, first question: where is basically Konark Temple situated, and why it is famous for? Yes, dear viewers, let me just tell you that the Konark Temple, or which is called the Sun Temple, is basically situated near the seashore, and the particular place where it is situated is called Chandrabhaga. And Chandrabhaga is that place in which, of course, the Konark Temple or the Sun Temple is situated. And Konarka, geographically, Konarka, Bhubaneswar, and Puri are just the triangles. And this triangle, that is called the Golden Triangle, what is said in Odia as Swarna Tribhuja. And the Golden Triangle is Sun Temple is just in the middle, and on one side it is of course the Lord Jagannath Temple, and on the other side it is in Bhubaneswar the Lingaraj Temple. These three beautiful monuments of Odisha have been associated with the name the Golden Triangle. And Konark is basically situated in the district of undivided Puri district, and somehow it is just a 23 kilometers distance from Bhubaneswar, and also same basically the same distance from the Puri also. And Konark is not a great name. Konark is of course famous for its famous monumental temple, the Sun Temple, the the Konark Temple, what we say. And Sun Temple, why the Sun Temple were there? The Sun Temple were there because Sun or the God Sun, it is just the center of the solar system, and somehow God Sun is of course treated as a god, and he is of course the main around all the nine planets of the Earth, and all the nine planets are just moving around the Sun, so that Sun may be called the god, may be called as the solar chief of the solar system, has just been associated with our science, with our religion, with our culture, and we worship Sun as a god. And not only we, but the uh, Indian culture and the Odia culture is associated Sun as just the source of all energy, and that's why it is just told. If ever you just walk on the sun for a few minutes, all the diseases will be just cleared. That's why sun is just taken as the god of all clarity, all purity, and all humility. I just want to tell you that Lord Krishna in Indian mythology, Lord Krishna, whose son Samba has been suffering from the acute disease leprosy, and he was not cured. And somehow uh, he was instructed by somebody that if ever he worships sun, or if he prays to sun with a devotion, with a dedication for 12 years, naturally he will be cured from this leprosy disease. So Shambha just selected this place, the seashore of Chandrabhaga, where he came. At that time, the Sun Temple was not there. At that time, he came here and just sat there and made the meditation for um, Lord, Lord Sun, Lord Surya. And after a few years. Of course, he was cured and he conquered the disease, leprosy. From that time, the mythological temple, the mythological place, Konark, became very famous from this instant. And after that, at the time of Langula Narasimhadev, King Langula Narasimhadev in the 13th century, of course, a temple was constructed there. And whenever the temple was constructed, King Langula Narasimhadev wanted to worship the god's son and wanted to make a temple on the name of son in that place on the memory of that Samba's recovery from leprosy. And that's why he has just engaged 1200 artists, 1200 workers, and 1200 architects to construct his dream project, Sun Temple. They also took, not only they are just 1200, but somehow they have just took 12 years to complete the temple work. And the temple was constructed, but it was very difficult on the part of the workers to make the peak of the temple, the top part of the temple. And finally, a little boy, 12 years old boy, Dharmapada, whose father's name was Visu Maharana, and Visu Maharana's son, Dharmapada, came from his village to see his father because uh, after his birth, his father had come from his home. He had not seen his father, so with some fruits, he had come from his village to see his father. And when he came to that resting place or to the camp of his father Visumarana, he saw that every worker is in a position of is in a dismay, and he wanted to know what is the reason why they become unhappy. Some of the workers complained that, of course, we have completed the temple, but the uh, peak of the temple is not constructed. So this is just the problem. And the king has just ordered that if in the next morning the peak is not constructed, naturally all the workers will be cut off their heads. And from this tragedy of seeing his own brothers, seeing his own parents into this tragedy, Dharmapada came out and just climbed up the mountain and then climbed on the temple. And on the top of the temple, he just constructed the peak in the overnight. But in the before the morning comes, he just jumped into the sea and drowned in the sea. Why did he just did so? He did so because to save his family members, to save his parents, to save his workers, other co-workers from drowning. Of course, he committed this mistake. He committed this, and Dharmapada becomes a legendary hero from that time. And so long as the Konark temple is there, the name of Dharmapada will be associated for that. Clear?
Yes. So this was the mythological story that is associated with the temple Konark. So whatever you just said now, whatever this mythological story you have just said, so is this thing actually true, or it is just an imagination which is made by a person, or just a fantasy, or a fictional science story?
Yes, of course, this is a very debatable question, and some people they don't believe this, and they say that, of course, it is just the unreal, it is just the imaginary that such a boy after 12 years has completed the peak of the temple. So, whether the story of Dharmapada, story of Konarka, or the story of Sun Temple is a real story or it is an imaginary story. So, this debatable question has been cropped up in the minds of the research scholars and the scientists. They don't believe it, but somehow this is a complete story. this story is just associated with the Sun Temple, and this may not be true, but somehow the magnet, which has been just in the top of it, maybe must be the reason behind that, and that's why Dharmapada was able to build the peak of it. So that's why it is not. It may not be true, but it's just a belief. We have just to believe it because unless and until the Konark Temple is there, we have to remember the story of Dharmapada.
Okay, so that thing we are not sure that actually this story is actually a true story or a fictional story, but according to mythology, whatever the mythology says, we just believe it because this thing people are doing since the start of the human civilization. Am I right?
Yes.
So exactly what he said is that what we know about Konark Temple. So one last question I want to ask you to tell our viewers about more about this Konark Temple. What is the current state of
Yes.
Konark Temple?
This is a very important question. The current condition of the present condition of the present state of the Konark Temple is that Konark Temple is now under the swell of the broken condition because the painters, the artists, the workers, those who have just built this temple with all the images and all the structures of dancers, of dancers, and the drummers, all the things they have just painted on the walls of this beautiful temple, they have all been lost. And the past glory has been broken. And that's why the present state is that, of course, some years till this, of course, the temple was kept under the sands of the sea. But now the government and the architects, they are just trying to bring out the bring out the sands and try to find out its main door where the Konark temple is just broken and government is just trying to rebuild it in the formation of new imaging and remaking it.
Okay, so all of these things actually happen of Temple, and this Konark Temple is like mythologically very strong, and one of the most important thing is it is very mysterious as well because we know that a lot of times the people who live or the people who worship the god at the Konark Temple, whatever I know is basically some of the times they say that the sound of the folk dancers was heard from the temple at the night time.
Yes.
So this thing is true or not, we don't know. Like we have never gone to Konark Temple at night or never heard anything, but that people are just saying and we are believing it. So, like that, only mythology is something that we need to believe whether it is true or just imaginary, we don't know. So, that was everything about the Konark Temple, and my grandpa has explained very nicely about this Konark Temple. I really appreciate your efforts and thank you so much for coming into our channel.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much.
So, guys, I hope you have got something to know from this video. And for such more fun and amazing videos and engaging, be sure to subscribe my channel, Prince Master Champ Education with Fun. I will be meeting you in my next video with my grandpa. Till then, bye bye.